And welcome back to the Bullring Podcast. Where entrepreneurs, artists, and everyday people get on the show and tell their story. It's your host, Candy. You can find me at I Am Candy 2020 on Instagram and I Am Candy Photography on Facebook. And of course, you can find me at the Bullring Podcast on Instagram and the Bullring Podcast on Facebook. And you know we got...
It's your boy, Word Sinatra. You can find me at Word Sinatra, Big Word Sinatra, Pressure Boys 912.
Okay.
Bullring Podcast, man. Google it.
Man, just go ahead and Google it, man. It'll pop up for you, man. Go ahead and show some love to season 7 that's already out there. Just so y'all know, there's going to be some changes to the episode names, and we're just going to stop saying seasons, and we're just going to go by episode numbers, man. We've made an executive decision right now.
Because it's hard to keep up with sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard, so we're not even going in the season format. So we're just going to go by numbers from here on out, and then we'll go from there. But tell them, man, what Pressure Boys got going on?
You know, it's the same thing, 20% off of all houses, no cars, all houses. 20% off houses, man, like we always got. I just think we doing for houses right now. So hit us up, man, Facebook, Instagram, call the number. I don't know the number by heart, but call the number. You know what I'm saying?
We'll put the number right here.
Yeah, we put the number right there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man.
And then for the I Am Candid Photography, the deal for the graduations and the proms is already over. But just know that we are actually revamping the site, revamping the portfolio, but we're going to be reaching out and putting out a price list to everybody. So just listen to different ways to get discounts here on the show, man. So be listening out for it, man.
Facts. And man, before we get deep in this, y'all know we have some of everybody come on this show. So the person I got on this show is somebody that I value his opinion. You know what I'm saying? Cool person, man. Ever since I met him. We been cool, like, you know what I'm saying? I look at him like an OG, man. You know what I'm saying? So this is gonna be a very, you know, exciting episode for me today. So, you know what I'm saying? With no further ado, man, you know, we here.
Man, here on the Bullring Podcast,
bro, always say that part.
We let people introduce themselves because only their own words describe them. So introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Gnester R. Brown Jr. I hail from the great state of Ohio, to be exact.
Okay.
And I am excited to be here. Like this young man right here is he's taught me things.
Oh, appreciate it.
The day without learning is the day without living. So
facts. Hey man, I got this little segment called the Bull Rush, where we ask you 5 questions. You have to answer them. Can't plead the fifth on these questions. All right. So first question, who's your childhood celebrity crush?
Ooh, childhood celebrity crush. Still crush to this day. Saw an episode on the other day on CBS, Pam Grier.
Okay, Posse Brown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, always a good one. She still look good. She how old she is?
75.
Dang, still.
Yes,
Yeah. Second question. What's the worst advice somebody ever gave you?
Ooh, worst advice somebody ever gave me. When I was going through my divorce, it's been some time now. Yeah. But somebody told me to stick with it. Obviously it didn't work out. But somebody said, you know, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna work itself out. Just stick with it, you know. And you know when it's done. You know when it's done. If you do everything possible to make that thing work, and it just don't
still
work,
not. Yeah.
And you're fighting one against the other. You know, or one in this case, one was fighting, the other was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So you know,
that's
not the best.
All right. If you were stuck on the island with one person, who that person would be?
Ooh.
Dead or alive?
Well, I have to go with my wife.
You the second person.
Smart people, bro.
You ain't the first person to say that. You ain't the first person to say that.
I couldn't come back.
Yeah.
If I made it back.
Hey, what's the craziest job you ever had?
My senior year of high school, I washed dishes for the summer, and The reason I was crazy because it was actually my first paying job. I actually got a paycheck. I had a bunch of jobs before that I got paid on the table and stuff like that. But working out there, man, these cats were raggedy, man. But we did some stuff out there. We could have made a TV episode out of that thing. You know, the Wash Boys and whatnot. It was wild. It was wild.
All right, the last question: if you could be any animal in the world, what would you be?
A gorilla.
Okay.
I got to think about monkeys, man. And that gorilla is a beast, bro.
Yeah, he is.
That's me, man. I'm far from that.
Yeah.
That's me, but that's what I feel I could be.
Yeah. Hey, man.
What's up, man?
That was a bull rush, man.
Straight to the point. Great answers right there.
Hey, man, we just about to go straight in, man.
What was it? I think he's like the second or third person to say gorilla.
Yeah. You gotta be specific when you say a monkey. You know what I'm saying? We don't have people just say monkey. You be like, all right, cuz like it's a lot of monkeys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't just want to be any monkey. You know what I'm saying? Like
I ain't trying to swing from tree to tree. I'm gonna be on the ground.
Yeah, facts. You know what I'm saying? If I was the monkey, it'd be a gorilla. Yeah. Like I always said, a silverback gorilla. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I ain't get that specific. My bad.
Yeah, no, you good. But like one of those, like I wanna come through. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But okay. First question: what's on your birth certificate?
Ooh, again, my given name is Gnester, spelled Gnester. It's not phonetically correct.
Yeah,
but that's the name my grandmother put on my father. Therefore, it's put on me.
Facts.
R's, the R. When I was born, my mother would name me Robert originally.
Yeah.
My dad would name me Rufus after his father. But they would let me pick my name when I got older.
Yeah.
But we kind of forgot about it. And lo and behold, 18 years later, when I get ready to join the military, I looked at my birth certificate and I was like, hey, what does this R stand for? They told me, and they said, well, you can pick it now. I looked at both of them. I was like, it's going to stay R.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't break nobody's heart at that point. And my last name is Brown, and of course I named that my dad, so I'm junior.
Yeah.
And I was born at Mount Sinai Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
It's no longer standard like a lot of things in Cleveland. It's the city has gone down tremendously in some spots and come up in some spots. But my mom, Lucy E. Brown, and my dad is Gnester Brown Sr. What else is on there? A couple fingerprints, May 25th, 1963.
Okay.
I forgot to put that out there.
Okay.
May 25th, 1963.
Okay, man. So you said that military was back there. So what branch were you in?
I was in the Air Force. Did 21 years.
Oh wow! Thank you for your service.
Not a problem. It was kind of thankless, but it paid off at the end. You do what you do. I discussed this with Alvin some time ago. I joined the military to get out of Cleveland. It was I was never a street cat. That was not my thing. I wasn't really a nerd either, but I was somewhere in between that. So it wasn't my shot. It just wasn't my shot. I knew I had to leave because it was getting heavy. And I went to college in a small town. I met my soon-to-be ex-wife. And I wanted to get on with my life and make a life with that. So I joined the military, and it was back then. It was education, travel to see the world, and all that. But I just want to get out of Cleveland, Ohio, and get away from my dad too, because that was he had some rules, and I wasn't
abiding by them. I mean, I was just growing up, or was it?
It was three of us.
Oh, okay.
And I abided by the rules, but I was tired of abiding by those things. It was getting kind of old, man. My dad was born in the '30s, so the times are hard. He's born in Alabama, so times are hard. So he came up kind of, on the rough side of the mountain, if you will, and just like most folks that moved to the north back in the day, escaping the madness that was going on in the south, to get a better job, and he brought us to Cleveland, and the rest of his history. Well, he didn't bring me. I was born in Cleveland, but he thrived. He had to get out of Alabama though, because Alabama was about to.
It was crazy. Well, that's the same thing my mom did. She from New Orleans, and she said she got in the military to get from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So she said she just wanted to see some different things.
Yeah, it was a different time back then. It was a time where, our people struggled, obviously for obvious reasons, and not to go too heavy into that. It worked.
Yeah,
it worked. It was, I guess, black flight, if you will, going to the north, and some people went to a bad situation, got to a worse. But my dad was fortunate enough to he didn't have but a 7th grade education, but he was fortunate enough to work at a steel foundry for 36 years. And so, we born in Cleveland, raised in the suburbs, so it worked out.
It worked out.
And hit the light switch. And that was all. Refrigerator always full. My dad provided. He did his thing. Wasn't perfect.
But he did his job.
Who's perfect, right?
Exactly.
Facts. Facts. What you did in the military? What you did in the Air Force?
I was a fuel specialist.
Okay.
Fuel specialist. Basically, we put fuel in planes. That's the bottom line. And, we did everything from bring it in, test it, account for it, put it in the storage tanks. But the basic thing, we put fuel inside the aircraft itself. It's more than being a glorified gas station attendant. That's the tag. But we went down range a lot. When I say going down range, we deployed a lot when the hot spots and stuff like that. So I didn't do Desert Storm. I was still in Panama for Just Cause. We did that. But I did Desert Calm. I did Enduring Freedom. I deployed 5 times to the hot spot. I'm sorry. And let's just say it was interesting.
Right. I know Memorial Day just passed us right now, and then I know its significance is because I was in the military as well, Army, did 10 years.
Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it. And then, what was some of your best memories that you had in the military? And then, if you have anybody you want to fall in.
The people's what made it, man. The job was a job, Once you learn it takes care of itself. But it was the people, man. I made some long-lasting memories. My very first piss mate, my roommate, if you will, was divided between by a bathroom. A cat named Daryl Ivory. From day one, I first got there back in. I'm about to age myself. Back in April '84.
What it was?
April '84. Man.
Okay.
And we still cool to this day.
I was 1 year old, man.
Man, it was. I'm gonna say it. It was back in the day, man. My boy Daryl Ivory. I had my first supervisor that was a person of color.
Yeah.
His name was Ellis Morgan. That brother was hard. He was hard, but he was fair. He brought me up. I was just a knucklehead back in the day. I was doing what I was playing ball. I wasn't trying to get those stripes. I was trying to get a base championship. That goofy kid stuff, man. But when he came on scene, he got me on point and he got me, lined up as like, man, this is what you need to do. And you need those old heads, man, that's going to look out for you. I'm sure you well know. And we had a lot of cats that we're just going through the motions and whatnot because we didn't know what we're doing. We're just a bunch of young bucks trying to, buck. And I was married, but I was still, running hard, doing stupid stuff. I was just trying to chase that ball. And I was playing ball on base, off base. I was playing softball. I was doing all that stuff. But I wouldn't hit them. In the Air Force, we had to test for rank.
Right.
And y'all do too. But the point being is, we had to, buckle down, and I wasn't doing all that. I wasn't concerned about making rank. I was trying to get that base check.
Wow.
That's it.
It's foolishness. But and my first child was born. And between Morgan and my first child being born, it will flip you, as you well know.
You're right. We had the conversation together. That first one.
It will make you do some changes.
It's gonna make you or break you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And it did. It made me get on point, and everything took care of itself from there.
Okay.
That's good. So what? Was it just 21 years was just your time, or you was waiting on the retirement?
No, sir. I was going to get out after my first 4 years, and I had my first child. Then I was going to get out in my second 4 years. Well, actually, it was my first. I did 6 years. Then I did 4, my second enlistment, and then I was going through the divorce, and I was like, man, I can't get out now.
Right, I got it.
So
I got to get my coin back.
And then when I went through the process, I actually gained custody of my children through my divorce. But it was agreement with me and my ex, and she just felt that I was in a better position to take care of the kids. But when it came time to separate, my oldest daughter, man, she cut the fool. She cried. I couldn't do it to her. I couldn't do it to her. So I had to end up leaving her with her mom, and we divided the kids, and I raised my son, she raised my daughter. It was a bad situation, but they're 38 and 35 respectively now, so I guess they're all right. But and if they're not, they'll tell me later. But
they surely will.
But and they haven't told me yet. But it was a thing, man. To whereas every time I was thought about getting out, something would happen that was going to be life changing. And after I got over that 10-year mark, it was like, man, it's all downhill from here. And at that 11-year mark, I met the love of my life, Cassandra, and now we doing what we do.
Yeah.
Been together ever since. So yeah, it works.
Right.
It works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hit that 10-year mark, and I was like, man, bye.
If you don't do it now, you might as well ride on out.
Ride it on up. But I was like, man, I ain't gonna. Shifted my mind a little bit at the time, but I always commend everybody that did their time and commend their service and everything like that, because I loved every single moment I was in the military.
Right.
I miss it almost every day. Honestly, how it kind of worked for me and what it did for me. But definitely did a lot for me. But I know my brother was here. He said that you was he was in the church a lot as well too.
Yeah, and it's in my, I guess it would have been my 8-year point, 9-year point. I went to a little island in Alaska called Shemya, and that's where I met Cassandra at. And man, I went up there to get away from everything, to try to figure out what I want to do as far as if I was going to divorce my ex-wife, I was going to try to stay with her. We had some stuff. I'm not going to go into all that what happened, but it was some foul things going on in our marriage, and it doesn't matter who did what, and when, and how, but it was foul, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But and God led me to Cassandra, and we met in the church. Something was there.
Right.
Yeah, facts.
Something was there.
Facts.
And when God puts us under, no man, work against that thing. So we, and I found a good thing, and more importantly, I found my way back to Jesus. And I think the thing with that though, you get an opportunity to once I say get away from everything, clear your mind, get a chance to really sit and think about that thing, and that thing became prayer, and that prayer became what led me to changing my lifestyle, being getting into that word, man. It's important. It's it's stabilizing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's stabilizing.
Yeah.
And the more it's stabilizing, it uplifts my spirit, it uplifts everybody's spirit.
Very facts.
So, that's where my foundation started, in Alaska, of all places,
Yeah. That's where he want to go. He want to go to Alaska.
So I want to go to Alaska for different reasons. Not during the military, for sure. Because when they making me stay outside, then I don't want to be there.
Well, see, it was different because it was cold. It definitely was cold, and when it snowed, the snow never melted, so it was always there. And it was an island. It was we're probably closer to Japan and Siberia than we actually were. Siberia, Russia, that is.
Yeah.
But we were actually mainland Alaska. Little island, 2 miles long, 4 miles wide. Man, we had nothing but. By the time I left, my jump shot was about perfect.
Yeah.
And I was back into following the footsteps, because I was in the church when I was young. I got baptized when I was 16. And I really backslide. I've never been a drinker, never been a smoker, never been high a day in my life or drunk a day in my life. And I know that's kind of unique, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm just one of many. But the point being is, that wasn't my thing. Plus, my dad said if I ever came home drunk or high, he would break my back.
Yeah.
I kind of believe him.
Yeah.
So
dads have a way of making you believe.
They will put some stuff on you again. But yeah, through that, I just did my military time, and when I got up there, it was just, everything would just worked out the way it worked out, man. And trying to be something I wasn't. I think we talked about that too a while back.
You talked about that.
Yeah, I was always that follower. I was always that follower. I was that cat. If I'd have stayed, one of the reasons I left Cleveland, didn't know at the time, that if I'd have stayed, I'd have followed myself right into trouble. And I had opportunities I had a really good job offer on the table when I joined the military. I could have got out and got that job at making really good bank back in those days. We talking about $20 an hour. We talking about in the early '80s.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah.
Been retired, but I know me.
Yeah.
At the time I was definitely a follower, man, and it was one of those things that once again God led my steps, and I just followed that path, man.
But you knowing that first about you, you know what I'm saying, and ready to solve that problem was the greatest step that you did, though.
Yeah,
because
and
a lot of people won't be able to admit to that, so like, okay, this is when I am, you know what I'm saying, like a follower or a leader, or you know what I'm saying, I just crash out of stuff like that. People don't recognize that first before they can even figure out what they need to do with themselves.
And again, that time I spent up there, I had a lot of lone nights, man. It was just me and my thoughts, and I had to come to grips with that thing. That thing would work on you, man. And I'm the whole time trying to figure out why my marriage went the way it went. what caused it to go that way. And again, there was fault on both sides. But it made me, put myself and say, okay, let me not stop saying why and saying why not. Put me in a position where I'm saying, okay, instead of saying why me, I'm saying why not me.
Yeah.
I'm no better than nobody else. I'm just like any other guy. I'm just doing my thing. Things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen, man, and they happen for a reason. The reason why we have this podcast right
Facts.
now happens for a reason. And
yeah.
it's unexplained. God, but we all know God works in mysterious ways,
Absolutely.
man, and He'll put you in a position where, of course, He's gonna get that glory.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it. And me going to Alaska, me meeting my wife, me going through the whole process and figuring out what I was going to do, it made me bring me back to Him, and therefore here I am. And for the grace of God, I could have been living under a bridge, man, because I don't know where my life was going at the time.
Yeah.
It was wild, man. But you just have to, just ride it out. That's all.
Okay. How do you stay positive in a world that's so negative? That's one of the things I admire about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just how you always see the better. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's looking crazy, you know what I'm saying, you still find the okay, this is what we could do to make this situation, you know what I'm saying, better than what it is.
Well, positivity comes, I guess, my examples from my father. My father would, one of the nicest guys I've met in my life, he would talk to an ant if it sat still, because that's the kind of cat he was.
Yeah.
And watching that, but at the same time, he had a lot of issues going on in his life, and he drank a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't understand why he did. Now I understand why he did now, because he had a lot of pressure on his head. Again, a black man raising 3 kids and coming up in the 60s and 70s, and then coming to the 80s, that pressure was on him. Plus, we didn't know at the time he had another family on the side of town. But that's another story. But all that pressure, it'll work on you. We didn't know that at the time too. But watching him and how he dealt with things, and my mother was kind of the exact opposite. Again. Sweet, loved to laugh, easy to laugh, real good with that. But she was that stern one. My dad was the one that busted our tails, but my mom was that stern one.
Yeah.
But watching that example of how they worked together, and they weren't always on the same page, but they were somewhere in the same book. And I think to watch them seeing what they did, what they went through, and how they came up, made me always say, man, I can't be out here being stupid, because they sacrificed.
Yeah.
Not that I recognized it then, but I knew that I had to do better. And plus, I watched my brother go through some stupid stuff, and I wasn't gonna do what he did.
Yeah.
And I had my baby sister, and watching what she did, and I wasn't gonna do what she did.
Yeah.
So I was the middle.
Yeah.
So I had to be the happy-go-lucky one, and it kind of worked itself out to whereas. If you watch the examples, watch the examples in front of you, and you got to take the good from it and dismiss the bad and keep it moving, man.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. And then when I joined the military, the same thing. I had some horrible supervisors. Some horrible supervisors.
Yeah.
Some straight logs, man. They were just there, just a bump in the road, man. They were horrible.
Yeah.
But I had some really good ones too. That came up and showed me the way. And again, you take every piece of person that you meet along the way, and you incorporate that in your life. You put that and the good stuff and the bad stuff, you beat it back and kick it out the door or whatever. But you take all that stuff, everything you gain every day. I say it all the time, every day. A day without learning is a day without living. A day without living is a day without learning. However I just said it. But all that all that together, man, and it took some time to get to the point where I'm not always up, but you won't know it.
I was about to say I can't tell though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you was having a bad day, unless you tell me, Mr. G, I wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always see you up, you speak.
Yeah.
How you doing, Alvin? You good? This and that. You know what I'm saying? How the family? All like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never seen you miss a beat.
There was a commercial coming back in the day. It's always said, never let them see you sweat.
Yeah.
Never let them see you sweat. And that's also part of the mantra growing up in a city like Cleveland. When I was trying to be something that I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't hard. I was like, I ain't gonna let nobody see me sweat.
Yeah.
I'm scared to death.
Yeah.
Scared to death. But I wouldn't let nobody know that, and that's all part of the process. You have to let that thing work on you and make you better. That's all.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So positivity comes in the examples in my life, man, and knowing that, watching what's around me and taking every little bit of piece of whatever person that was in front of me and using that stuff to my advantage.
Yeah.
Or disadvantage, if you will.
Okay. I like that.
Right. Okay. That's some great advice.
That is some great
A lot of
advice.
people, I mean, focusing on the good stuff. I know in the military they used to teach us like hunt the good stuff. So like always staying on the positive side of things. I grew up Christian, so my dad is a pastor. So he's always told me where, you know what I mean. He gave me the good news at a young age. You know what I mean. I was baptized real young as well, and then baptized again once I got older. But it's so I've always been. I wouldn't say I backslid or anything like that from when I was at a young age, but I also understand like I kind of just was doing, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like out in the world, I was ready to get from up under my I was ready to get from up under my father, not because he wasn't a good father to me, not because he wasn't a good dad or anything. It's just that I was ready to start my own life, you know what I mean? Yeah. Figure out what was gonna be my thing here, you know what I mean? And sometimes like that's what led me into the military, going throughout all this other type of stuff, but getting that advice of like always staying on the positive is hard, especially now. I don't know, as I'm getting older.
Fact.
I'm
my tolerance get like anything could hurt me today.
I'm thinking too much, maybe. Thinking too much.
But things will when you get to that point where you feel like you can't go on. I step back and I got some horrible news before I came here today. Yeah. And I just stepped back, said not a quick prayer, but I said a prayer. Get some of that need time, man, and and thank you, thank you. And the opportunity for it to be the work the way it worked. Yeah. It worked out to our advantage because my wife had an opportunity to get there in time. Yeah. You had to take that part instead of using the other part.
The other part. You're right. You're right.
That's the way I looked at it, and I told her the same thing too. Now, how far that goes with her, I don't know. That's a different ball.
That's a different ball.
But like you said though, in the military, man, it's easy to get down because man, it's not everybody's cup of tea. And it really, really wasn't made for us as a people. But, again, I worked to my advantage, and part of that process was I saw my brother went in, and he showed me the way. Now, he was a Navy guy, but when he went in, it was even, he went in the 70s, I went in the early 80s. He showed me the way, but not showing me the way. He didn't tell me anything about it. I didn't ask him the advice, but I saw him in it. He stayed in it. I think if he could do it, then I could do it.
I could do it too.
And it's just that simple.
Is there an example? The example of right before, like my brother was in the military, so I was like,
I mean, bro
could get through it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You're right. And again, it wasn't nothing he said. It wasn't nothing he was actually doing or telling me. It was just him being there. Yeah, and that was enough. Enough. Yeah.
So what led you to be more involved in the church, into getting into your title as a deacon?
Well, that's really amazing.
For those who don't understand too, like, can you explain what being a deacon is?
Okay, a deacon. I am the basically go-between between the pastor and the congregation. I am that person who is I am the helpmate. I am the server. Deacon actually means to be a servant. And to serve my people. My job is to make sure the congregation can have a back and forth with the pastor. Our pastor's a bishop just by the title, but to make sure that I can be the go-between. Our congregation is kind of small, so it's not hard for us. It's easy to do, but my job is I'm the go-between. I am that gopher. I do everything that he's not doing.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it amounts to. But I was ordained last year, matter of fact.
Yes, sir.
And but the path is kind of unique. When we first got in the area, the first church we attended, I got there, and the if you will, the lead deacon walked to me. He's like, I think you make a great deacon.
Yeah, he recruiting you.
Yeah, he was, and more or less, he recruiting. And he put that thought in my mind. And then the word kind of spread, and they started to call me, Deacon Brown, and titles don't mean nothing.
Yeah,
it's just I got my favorite title is Dad. I'm cool with that title.
Right. Yeah.
But the rest of that stuff comes with it. Is all well and good. But he put that thought in my mind, and you have to have that calling because it ain't easy.
Yeah,
right. It ain't easy, and not that I have people in my church that's hard to deal with or anything like that. But being the fact that I'm doing this in the eyes of God, I can't be out here just willy nilly. It's my salvation we're talking about. Yeah. And if I'm giving something and I don't give it to the congregation the right way, then I'm purposely taking them down the wrong path. And that charge is enough in itself. I can't be here telling you something to do and I'm not doing it too.
Fact.
You know, man, it's not, it's hard, but it's not hard because I find it easy because I enjoy doing it. But the whole process, you know, I sat down and prayed about that thing, thought about that thing, prayed about that thing, put that thing through the ringer, bounced off my wife's head and went back and forth with it. And it worked out to whereas she was like, I think you'll be good at it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's not a matter what you think.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what you think. You know, and because this is the kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, and our salvation is important. I understand that that's a subject that we don't broach too often, but you know, in this day and age, with the church is being the way it is, there's so many things that can turn people off from the church.
Okay, before you go any deeper in that you just rolled into that question. Why do you feel that church and people like just distant themselves from, like, you know how back in the days we like, or just like you say, going to church, getting into the church, it's not like that no more. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people probably say the pandemic. You know, when the pandemic came, it kind of stopped people from going to church and stuff like that. But just the simple fact of people not taking that serious. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the days.
Well, I think back in the day, like everybody else, my parents drugged me to church. You know, I didn't want to go when I was young. I think that's the majority of people. You know, we're young. It's Sunday morning. The last thing you want to do is, you know, sit, especially back in the day. You know, you sit in 2-3 hours at church, and then, you know, right when you think you're about to leave, you're going to sit another 2-3 hours in church. But we went through the process because that's what it was. The parents don't do that anymore. You know, because their time is valuable, and we only get a couple of days off work each week, and I understand that part. But again, you know, God gave you a whole lot.
Yeah. You
should be able to give him a little bit.
You're right.
You know, should be able to give him a little bit. Should be able to give him a whole lot because he gave it to you. But I think that if you look at it that way, also the pandemic did take people out of the seats. What's really taking people out of the seats though is what people see on TV. These ministers, and these situations they put themselves in.
Right.
You know, you got ministers asking for jet planes and such like that.
You're right.
You got
$1 million.
You got them getting caught up in all kind of compromised positions and such, and all that stuff just turns people off. And it's not to say that, you know, we always say, you know, judge, yes, you be judged. True. But it's just human nature.
Yeah.
You know, you see what's going on, and you don't want to be part of that. Yeah. You know, with the young people nowadays, hypocritical is a good word. It's a fact.
Right.
It's a fact. Right. People see that, and it turns people off. You know, I had a long-standing conversation with an individual, and his whole thing was, well, what they do with the tithes? Well, I don't know what they do with the tithes.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be your concern. Your concern, if you give it, you giving it to the Lord. You're not giving it to the Lord.
Yeah, I don't care what they do with it.
I understand a lot of people don't agree with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's what it's for. It's for the upkeep of the church. Yeah. Now, whether you get 10% or you just give $10, it's all the same. Yeah. You're giving something. Yeah. And you know, the widow gave her last.
Facts.
And she was blessed tremendously. We have to take these things and use the Bible for what it's worth. It's a actual living document that's going to teach you how to live your life each day.
Right. You're right.
You know, it's not teaching you how to get to heaven. It's not teaching you how to raise your children. If you look at that Bible, you can find something that's going to cordon you off everything that's going to happen in your life in a day's time. Now, will you find each and everything in the Bible? No.
You're right.
But if you open up that thing, you read and you study that thing, you're going to find some solace. You're going to find some comfort. You're going to find something that's going to make you, you know, okay, I can deal with this.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it. And that gotcha moment is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But we again, all the stuff that's going on in the church, all the stuff to society itself, you know, we got mass shootings on a regular basis.
Right.
We got people, they walk into the church, they shooting at people. The guy trying to shoot the guy at church or whatnot.
You right.
If it's gun to jam, we just saw one on TV. You know, people robbing people at church. The level of disrespect is tremendous now.
You right.
The level of people's disconcern with religion as a whole. I was listening to something earlier today, and they said it's over 200 denominations. There's not one denomination mentioned in the Bible.
You're right. You're right.
Now, again, even if you say yourself is non-denominational, that's still
a denomination.
A denomination.
You're right.
Where we up this thing, you know, and again, Christianity is the following of Christ. It's not really a denomination. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
I happen to go to a church that doesn't have a title or whatever like that, they don't make us better. Mm-hmm. That's just the church I go to. Because my church is my church, but you have to find what's going to work for you. We can sit here and debate about a lot of things, but the fact is, the Bible's tried and true, and it's been tested.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
It's a historical document, man. That thing is, oof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I ain't gonna lie, since you know what I'm saying, like when I go to it, I sleep better. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm stressed out and I just open it, and I don't care if I just read a chapter real quick. Like I can close my eyes. I ain't tossing and turning. I'm well. I wake up the next morning. I'm ready to go. Like even just to go back and reminisce on it. You know what I'm saying? If it's going throughout my day, I just sit back. Okay, I see this. I read this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And it's a powerful tool. But we as a people, again, we're our own worst enemy because we see these things happening. We know what we should be doing, but you're like, I think I'm gonna get a couple more hours of sleep. And I'm not condemning anybody for not going to church because you can have church right here in this garage.
You're right. You're right.
Your spirit is your spirit, and you well know that. Your dad come in right now. He can raise this roof.
Yeah.
Right. The anointed is anointed, and the word is the word. It ain't gonna change.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna change. It'll work on everybody.
Yeah.
You just gotta let it.
Yeah.
Right. I wish more people understood, like. Because a lot of people, you hear a common complaint that's like, oh, I'm not churchy, or I'm not, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm not goody two shoes.
I went to church the other day
what are you talking about?
With all my jewelry on, jersey,
no, but
some shorts.
I just wish people understood. I think it's for the same reason that a lot of people get mixed into going to a lot of different denominations because of the things that those specific denominations offer them, when you should just be trying to be like him. Like, so I've always seen him. That's how my dad always taught us. He was like, that's how you show that you love him. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not through your deeds. You know what I mean? Nothing you could do is going to inherit you the kingdom of heaven. Right. You know what I'm saying? We're already flawed. Everyone's born flawed. Everybody's born in sin. So if it was by that, like what we do here on earth, then none of us would make it.
Yeah.
So he's like, it's by faith. I mean, it's by grace. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
It's but by grace that we get to go into heaven. So like, how can you show somebody that you love them, but be like them? Do what they tell you to do. Like be obedient to their will. You know what I'm saying? There's no other way to tell that person, because no type of money, no type of what I'm doing, except for me trying to be like him. So it's like I've always went that way. Because a lot of people get mixed up, like what denomination, what type of church you going to, what type of, no, it's not about that, man. You should get your personal journey. Open up that Bible for yourself. Even listening to it. You know what I mean?
The prayer, the relationship you have with God, that all that works together, and it makes you understand that if you don't have an established relationship with God, if you are not praying, and if you are not, have been baptized and understand that, it's the blood. That thing covers all of us. It don't discriminate. It don't distinguish. It covers everybody. Now, what you do is what you do, and I go out here and save 5,000 people. I'd be the first one to go to hell. If that's what God wants, it's God's will. It is God's will. And again, I guess people get caught up in the fact that I didn't really slap her that hard.
Yeah,
justifying.
Yeah. You can't. You can try. You can try. I only know one way. And I'm not perfect by no stretch. I worry about my salvation, but I'm charged with trying to help my family get over that hump, and that's enough in itself. But the most important thing, I'm trying to get myself over that same hump. And if I can just show a little bit. To somebody, just let that light shine just a little bit. Back to the whole thing about being positive, man. If you come to me and I'm supposed to be doing my job as a quote unquote deacon, who am I? If you walk up to me and be like, "What's going on, Miss G?" I mean, I don't know, man.
Down trial.
I'll be looking at you crazy like, exactly. You right. You right.
So it's all part of the whole part of it, and I'm not pretending. I'm not putting on. It's just what it is. I only got one way.
And going back to that's what Kenneth told me. Like when I was trying to, matter of fact, before I'm back into it, but he was like, "Hey, bro, like, don't listen to me. I'm just giving you advice on it. Like, you gotta have your own comfort with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? That's you and God relationship, bro. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit down with them. You know what I'm saying? All I could do is just give you advice and tell you, you know what I'm saying? Give you this to read, but you got to get your understanding,
Absolutely.
bro. You know?
Because once again, and I don't want to overtalk you, but
no, you good.
Your relationship is your relationship. I had a partner of mine who just recently did a spoken word at his church, and they asked him to stand up and talk, and he spoke on perception. Yeah. You know, what you perceive it to be is what it is. You know, what you see may not necessarily be what you see,
right?
But it's your perception, and therefore it's your perception too. So, you know, you looking at the same thing two different ways, but God is just one way, man.
Right.
So our opinions, our lifestyle, and all that stuff, it really don't matter. You know, we have to be on one accord and understand that there's only one way to the kingdom. Right. That prayer time and understand that, you know, the grace.
The grace. You're right now.
Man.
He was straight up, right?
It's
real
just
talk,
the same
right?
things that me and you be talking about.
Yeah.
That's definitely a great way to stay positive as well, is understanding your relationship with him, because we were speaking about this before we went live. Like, just open up that book, kind of just give you peace. Right? It just gives you that comfort that you need. Like, because it's not, what you'll realize is that, like, one is a living document, is a truth. And thing is, about the truth, you can't get around it. Huh. You can feel some type of way about it. You can feel some type of way about it, but you can't get around it.
Can't get away from it.
So it's like, every time you open up the book, no matter where you are, you can get something from it. So it's like, a good question that I wanted to give you was, what is the scripture that you say you live by?
This kind of ties everything together. The golden rule, you know, Matthew 7:12. You know, doing to others as you have them do unto you. That's my mantra. You know, I treat people like I want to be treated.
Facts.
That's all. That's it in a nutshell. You know, I talk too much, not to be on that level, because I can't be tracing what I say, so I got to speak the truth. You know what I'm saying?
You remember you said?
I don't. It's the same thing all the time. It's not going to change up, because this is what I am. Yeah. This is who I am. But yeah, I try to. The same way I talk to my 10-year-old granddaughter is the same way I talk to my bishop. The same way I would talk to my president of operations at my job. The same way I would talk to you know, your son. You know, it's all the same. I don't have a one voice. You know, so I can't make it be what it's not. I'm sorry.
No.
You good.
But you know, it's just what it is. You know, treat people like you want to be treated. Now I know that's easy for me to say, because I'm where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I am 61. And I have been here a few decades, and I have seen it done some things.
Yeah.
And so this is it. I don't plan on going nowhere no time soon. God be willing, because I ain't ready to go nowhere. But at the same time, I am ready to go. So whatever comes, we're gonna roll with it.
Roll with it. Yeah.
If I do go, my wife be rich too. But that's
hey, hold on. Do you feel like God is missing in relationships?
Blessing relationships.
Missing in relationships.
Missing in relationships.
Missing in relationships.
Like, you feel like a lot of people relationships would be more better if they just involve God.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Anything you involve God in.
No, you know, because I feel like relationships don't, like, you know, only time you probably hear the God is when they at the wedding. You know what I'm saying? After the wedding, you know what I'm saying?
But it's easy to, as long as it's working to your favor, it's easy to be in step with God. I'm being blessed because I got a good job.
Yeah.
Let's say you lose that good job.
Then what? You right.
You still got to bless God.
You right.
You know, and the same thing with a relationship. You know, I went to that turmoil with my ex. You know, it was just that. It was a turmoil, but he got something from that thing, because I gained the knowledge and understanding that was not for me. You know, and apparently I wasn't for her either. And that's cool. And we both worked out. And we cool now. Yeah. It took some 30-some years to get there, but we cool now.
Yeah.
But even with that, you know, you have to you got to walk that walk. God is not necessarily predestined, but it is your steps. You got to walk. It's already laid out there for you. It's there. You know, we got to make, and I shouldn't say it's not predestined. That's not correct. Let me rephrase that and say, it is your walk. God's already is determined. You're gonna make that. You're gonna make this move. He knew I was gonna get divorced before I got divorced. He knew what was gonna happen before it happened. I just had to go through it.
Yeah,
and that's everything. And as far as relationships go, we that's not because we didn't go to church.
Yeah,
and because me and my wife go to church now, don't make it better.
Yeah,
you know, we make it better because we work at that thing, and we know this guy in the presence because we try to put him at the head. Yeah. And I say try because it doesn't always work because she mad at me and I'm mad at her. You know, we ain't trying to put nobody in front of us. We trying to make this thing work, and we're both mad. And if you're mad, you're mad. That's just human nature. But when you have a chance to sit back and think, okay, let's be smart about this thing. And work that thing out and come from a point that's like, hey, I love you no matter what.
Yeah.
And God is love.
Yeah.
Bottom line, God is love. If you don't have nothing else, if you don't hear nothing else from this podcast right now, just know that God is love.
Facts. Facts.
And that He is, if He ain't get no glory from it, He's not gonna put you together if it's not gonna work out for Him.
Right. Yeah.
And again, that I truly believe that everything works in that favor. Mm-hmm. And yes, you gotta have a relationship.
You got to.
Yeah. That don't mean you have to get up and pray every morning.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah. You should.
You should.
You
should. I mean, you have to pray every night, but you should.
Mm-hmm.
That because that's your personal time with Him.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I want to beat that over the head, but I'm gonna beat it over the head. That personal time means everything.
You're right.
And again, it's easy for me to say, but it's better for me to do. And I'm gonna do what I have to do because mine means the world to me.
Facts.
We getting old together, so we got to mean something.
Facts. Right. Facts.
And I can't afford to let it go right now. She would take me for everything.
Facts. Hey. Man.
I'm just okay.
I was talking to my nephew, and my nephew was like, "Why get married where I lose at the end if she don't want me no more?" You know what I'm saying?
That's heavy.
That's deep though. It's deep.
I be telling people it's super simple. I'll be telling it's super simple, and you got to keep it simple for these young kids.
Yeah.
One, if you believe in the Bible, right? You want to have sex, then get married. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Because it actually gives you the advice that, like, if you could go without sex, then just go without sex and just praise the Lord all the time. Yeah. That's what it says. Yeah. But if you can't stray away from, those natural urges, then you should definitely be getting married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why you should get married. That is the benefit.
Yeah. But I mean, the worldly ways is scary. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing that you work everything you work hard for. you can lose it. You know what I'm saying?
But if you go into it with that approach,
you're not gonna win at all.
Not gonna win at all. And,
you're right.
But that is again, that's part of society today. That's how society works because we see these people have these prenups and things of that nature. Yeah. And that's all because they're trying to protect themselves, and they should because they got a whole lot to lose. I got a lot to lose too on my level.
Still on my same level as a lot to lose. Yeah. For sure.
So I get it, but at the same time, we have to understand that if you go into it with that approach, it's doomed from the street.
Yeah, because you already like a plan B.
Yeah, you already got you 1 foot out the door. You ready to jump.
You just tiptoeing like, okay.
That's why every time you hear me talk about it, bro, it's just one way. Like you got to think just one way.
Facts.
Like because one, if you're not doing it the biblical way, then why are you even doing it in the first place?
Absolutely.
And then and if you are doing it the biblical way, you should be doing it out of the kindness of your heart and doing stuff.
You always tell me that. You always tell me that. You always say, "Hey, bro, when you do it, you do it because you want to. Don't do it."
It's always a good thing.
Facts.
So that's what the Bible says. Having a wife is always a good thing. Yeah. So he give you a wife, he give you a good thing. So there you go. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's the mind frame. A lot of people are like, oh man, you gotta think of money come and go. Everybody learned that. People that make all the money in the world, they grow old. And then they'll realize what was I making?
That was Steve Jobs said. Steve Jobs said, chasing money, he missed a lot of things.
Pretty sure all them top dudes got divorced, didn't they? I think it was I think it was what was the Jeff Bezos guy? What was the other top dude? Microsoft guy? Bill Gates?
Bill Gates, yeah.
So it's like, I mean, none of that
Tesla
stuff
dude too.
That stuff don't equate, man. It don't equate. So, you put God first, right? Then you realize that both of y'all in your flesh are wrong, right? And only him, following him, is gonna be the way that he can get through. Because sometimes when I communicate, I'm communicating from my flesh, and communicating from my flesh is always looking out for me, for my flesh. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm in Him, you know what I'm saying, I'm putting God first. It doesn't matter what my flesh wants. Yeah. It doesn't matter if I'm wrong. It doesn't matter what my personality is. You know what I mean?
Right.
What all that me stuff. It doesn't matter with her too. Like. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter about her personality, her me stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because we're both dealing with things. But putting Him first, He tells you literally what to do. And then if you do those things, it always works out to the good. It hasn't. And
in society right now, it's so easy to say, "I'm done."
It is, bro.
You know, you got to put some effort to make that thing work.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, and I think that if we actually sit down and why'd you marry in the first place? In our cases, if you want to get divorced, and I put that on the table. We did all that stuff, and it all worked out. And I was like, at the end, I was like, man, this thing is, you know, And when I did everything I think I could do to make it work, and it just wasn't doable. It just wasn't.
It was. Yeah.
We are running hot a little bit on these cameras right now, so we're gonna have to start wrapping it up.
All right.
Or we're gonna be out of cameras.
Oh, okay. I see you kept getting up checking them.
You see, I had to keep getting up and checking. Definitely on this one.
Yeah, okay, let's go ahead to the last one then, man. What's your end game? What's your thing, though?
End game. Man, I think I spoke on this the other day. My sister asked me, like I said, I'm just turned 61. I plan on retiring in about 4 years. When I get 65, I plan on it. Yeah. If my body don't give out before then, you know, no major injuries and everything is good, I'm going to ride out to that age. And it's nothing in particular. It's just that number just stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I have a special needs grandson. I want to make sure that dude is straight, best I can, as long as I can. You know, I have. I don't really have any kind of grand plans of moving. I'm between. I have a granddaughter in South Carolina, and I have 2 grandsons in Hinesville. So I'm centrally located right now, so I can be the place in a matter of minutes, if you will. So the end game is to live my life the best I can, love my wife, have my kids. Well, they're not kids no more. These young adults, if you will, be productive human beings, man, and hopefully see the Browns win the Super Bowl. You know?
One day, I think the Saints will get another one for y'all. Oh no! But man, Mr. G, man, it's always a pleasure, man.
Absolutely.
Like I say, I admire you, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, sir. Speaks only hot things about you, man. Only hot things. And this ain't going to be your last time. Just
y'all going to follow Mr. G.
Just to introduce our audience to you, because we definitely need your advice, man, especially coming from a different perspective, given from your perspective.
Well, I appreciate that. And I don't call it advice. It's just life lessons, bro.
Right. Facts.
It's just life lessons. If I'm not a psychiatrist, I'll get paid for this. So it's just life lessons.
Right. Facts.
You got to learn something.
Well, I appreciate you. I really appreciate you,
yes,
man.
Sir.
You know what I'm saying? All the good advice you give me. You never told me nothing wrong. So y'all go follow Mr. G, man. Y'all hit him with a question, he might answer y'all. You know what I'm saying?
I'll do the best I can.
Yeah.
How about that?
But man, this the Bullring podcast, man.
Man. It's your host, Kenny. You can find me at I am Kenny 2020 on Instagram, man. I am Kenny Photography on Facebook. Of course, you can find me at the Bullring Podcast on Instagram and the Bullring Podcast on Facebook. You know we got.
It's your boy Work Sinatra. You can find me at Work Sinatra, Big Work Sinatra, Pressure Boys 912.
Okay.
Bullring Podcast. Like I always tell everybody, man, take care of your kids, take care of your bills.
Get in your Bible.
Get in your Bible, man. I'm getting in mine. I'm in mine, so I ain't even gonna say getting in mine. I'm in mine. So, man, if you can't figure out something, bro, pick up your Bible. That's what I do now. I don't ask nobody. I don't call nobody. I pick up my Bible first before I do anything, bro. You know what I'm saying? I might just hit somebody up for a scripture or two I need to go straight to understand. But other than that, I pick it up now, bro. That's the best thing happened to me. Last 3-4 months, that's all I've been doing, bro. So, man, get you some life insurance or some assets. You know what I'm saying?
Some assets is paying it out.
You know what I'm saying? And, man, shoot, we out, man.
We out.
All right.